Hi students, welcome back. In the previous video, I discussed about the equilibrium, types of equilibrium. In that I explained in detail. Now, next one is solid vapor equilibrium. See, this type of equilibrium will be present if a substance can undergo sublimation process. Example, iodine, camphor, they have naphthalene, they have the ability to go for sublimation. What is sublimation? Conversion of the solid into the gaseous state without going into the liquid state, that is the sublimation. See, if solid is directly converted into a gas, then the sublimation. Usual process is what? First solid goes into the liquid, then the liquid goes into the gas. If this direct conversion is there, then we call it as sublimation without this process. So which are the example? Iodine, camphor, then we have naphthalene. These are the example for substances which go for the sublimation. Means when the iodine is there, iodine solid directly gives iodine gas. They will not be converted into iodine liquid, then give this one. No. They directly do this. So the example is iodine solid in equilibrium with iodine gas or iodine vapors. What happens here? Rate of sublimation is equal to rate of condensation. Rate of sublimation equal to rate of condensation. Rate of sublimation is equal to rate of condensation. Example is naphthalene, naphthalene is a condensed to benzene being circular. This is the naphthalene. So naphthalene solid in equilibrium with naphthalene gas. Again, is an example for solid vapor equilibrium. And all these three are physical equilibrium only. Next one is equilibrium involving dissolution of solid or a gas in liquid. Say, example you see, carbon dioxide gas in equilibrium between carbon dioxide in the solution. Actually, what you are doing is, carbon dioxide we are passing through the water. Carbon dioxide dissolves in the water and gives carbonic acid H2CO3. That exists equilibrium. That is the gas in liquid. Now, next one. Sugar in solution in equilibrium with the sugar. What happens here? This is a liquid, this is solid. So it is a solid in liquid equilibrium. Solid in equilibrium. Solid in liquid equilibrium over there. Now, gas in liquid equilibrium, whatever the dissolution or the solubility is governed by Henry's law. So, the dissolution of the gas in the liquid is governed by Henry's law. At a given temperature, mass of the gas that is dissolved in a given mass of the solvent is directly proportional to the vapor pressure of the substance. What is the Henry's law says? Mass of the gas that is dissolving in the given mass of the liquid is directly proportional to the vapor pressure of the gas above the liquid. Mass of the gas dissolved in a given mass of a liquid is directly proportional to vapor pressure of the solvent. Note this. That is, P is directly proportional to X, where X is the mole fraction of the solute. That is, P is equal to Kh into X, where Kh is Henry's constant. P is the vapor pressure, P is the pressure, then X is the mole fraction of the solute. Include in your formula basis. P is equal to Kh into X. And in the second PUC, you are guys studying this Henry's law again. So I am not going to explain now to the much extent. So P is equal to Kh into X. Just have this formula in your mind. Now, one important thing to remember. With the Kh value, we can predict which is more soluble in a liquid, which is less soluble also. Higher the Kh value, note on this properly, higher the Henry's constant or Kh value, lower the solubility of a gas in liquid. Note on this properly. Important. See, Kh value can be given out in a competitive exam. Then we say which will be more soluble. Where one question there. Among oxygen and helium is less soluble at a particular temperature in water, which is having more Kh value. Helium and the oxygen are given, and he said helium is less soluble. And he said O2 is more soluble in water. Both are in water only. He said which is having the higher Kh value. As the helium is less soluble, Kh value of helium is more. Note this. Which are less soluble will have the higher Henry's constant value. One more thing you write down there. See, this is A and the B are two gases. And A has KH value of 30 kilobar and B is having 0.02 kilobar KH value. Which is more soluble at a given temperature? More soluble here will be B because its KH value is less. As KH value is less. Note on this. Less soluble is A because its KH value is high. See what it says. Pressure P is directly proportional to K to dx. And remember, go for soft drinks. What you do is carbon dioxide is passed to the water at high pressure, not at a lower pressure, because as the pressure increases, solubility of the gas in the liquid increases, means more carbon dioxide is dissolving over there. So I get a soft drink easily if the pressure is increased. That's why high pressure carbon dioxide is passed to the water to prepare the soft drinks. Next one is solid in liquid equilibrium. See, I'll take a water in a beaker. To this, I will add the sugar. What happens then? Sugar start dissolving and start giving sugar solution. In the beginning, as we add the sugar dissolves and we call it as unsaturated solution. Now, continue adding the sugar. Continue it. Add the sugar. Continue it. A point will be reached. Even the sugar is soluble in water, the sugar stops dissolving. And we call it as saturated sugar solution. At a given temperature, even though sugar is soluble in water, they stop dissolving in the water and we call it as saturated solution. And solid in a liquid solution, equilibrium will be there if a substance is in a saturated condition. At a saturated solution, there is a solid liquid equilibrium. Means how much sugar dissolves, that much sugar reprecipitate over that. It will be again converted into the sugar solid over that. Where at a saturated condition, sugar going into the solution, that much only give the sugar solids, and we say that it is at equilibrium. And remember here, when this in the saturated solution, the rate of crystallization is equal to rate of dissolution will be there. Where? In the saturated solution. Now, what are the factors to which the solubility of the solid in liquid depends? Factors deciding solubility of solid in liquid. First one, temperature factor. In this you have to see whether the solubility is exothermic or the endothermic, etc. Don't bother about them, because in the second you are studying in detail. but temperature will decide. Say solid going to the liquid solution is delta H is positive endothermic, delta H positive is endothermic, then solubility increases with increase of temperature. Example, potassium nitrate giving potassium nitrate aqueous solution. It's a solid KNO3 aqueous solution. It's a delta H is positive here. As the temperature increases, solubility of the potassium nitrate goes on increasing. Say, if solid giving the solution is exothermic, delta H is negative. Like NaOH dissolving water to give NaOH aqueous solution. Here, as the temperature increases, solubility decreases. Means temperature will decide the solubility of the solid. Second one, nature of the solvent, that also decides. Like dissolve the like. Ionic solids are dissolving in ionic solvent. Ionic solids are dissolved in polar solvent. Non-ionic will be dissolving in non-polar solvent. Like dissolve the like. Ionic solid have the positive and negative ions. Polar solvent have the positive and negative. So they dissolve. Whereas non-polar solvent will be used for dissolving non-ionic compound, because non-ionic compound does not possess any ions over there. So like dissolves like. That concept will be utilized. First one is nature of the solute. So these are the factors that decide the solubility of the solid in liquid. One by one we will study. First one is, just see, whatever the equilibrium is not static. Equilibrium is dynamic in nature. Means when you see, it looks like the whatever the process stopped, but actually the process continues to happen. So why it is happening like this? Because how much is going to the product, that much is coming to the reactant side, or how much water in the form of liquid goes into the water vapors, that much only condensed and gives the water liquid if it is a liquid vapor equilibrium. So the person who observes from outside may think that the process stopped, but actually the process is happening. So it is a dynamic in nature, not static in nature. See, second one, I'll take this water, liquid in a open beaker. What about that? These are the water molecules. So I want to convert it to the water vapors. Okay. So I will start heating. The water molecules now start moving outside. Whereas if I do like this, the same water I am taking with a closed container. water vapors which goes here, strike here, they are condensers and come back. Means any physical equilibrium can be obtained in the closed container only. Equilibrium can be obtained in closed container. You see, this water is going to vapor state, never comes back, they goes out. Then no chance of that vapors and the liquid at equilibrium. Whereas here in the closed container will be, so they can come back. So closed container is a must. See here, measurable quantities like mass, volume, etc. whether it is going to change. See, liquid is there, going to vapor state. 20 ml is there, say 1 ml is going to vapor state, but that 1 ml again coming back. And that means measurable quantities will not change at equilibrium. Measurable quantities remains constant. They will not change in the physical equilibrium process. I will discuss about the chemical equilibrium in the later stages. I am concentrating for the physical equilibrium, so I am writing for the physical only. Now, see, next one is equilibrium can be altered by temperature. Next one is, if the equilibrium is involving the gases, or if the gases are involved in the equilibrium, then by changing the pressure, equilibrium can be changed. Means equilibrium involving gases are affected by pressure. That is, equilibrium involving gases are affected by the change of pressure. Next one. See, when the equilibrium is reached, then the concentration remains the same. Because how much is going to the another physical state or coming to the same physical state over there. Means the concentration remains the same when they reach the equilibrium. Concentration remains same once attain equilibrium. Once the boiling takes place, just here, whatever water and the water vapors, equilibrium will be reached. Then how much water was there and how much water vapors will be there, then no changes occurs. It remains the same only. See, already I mentioned what the meaning of freezing point or the melting point. Temperature at which water liquid and the water solid, that is ice, are at equilibrium at 1 atm pressure, that is a freezing point. So, water solid, water liquid at 1 atm pressure, that is the freezing point or melting point. Anyone? And remember, At this condition, at equilibrium, remember here, what is happening here? Ice, which is a solid, and water, which is a liquid, coexist. That will be the freezing point or the melting point. Temperature at which solid and the liquid form coexist, that is called as the freezing point. Temperature at which solid phase and liquid phase of a substance coexist is at 1 atm pressure is known as melting point or freezing point. Note down one more definition. This is the definition of freezing point or the melting point. Means solid form and the liquid form of the substance coexist. Remember, if I go for 100 degrees Celsius, solid and the liquid are not coexisting, the liquid will be there. So at 0 degrees Celsius, the solid and the liquid form coexist and they are at equilibrium. Then it is a freezing point. Now, next one is equilibrium in chemical process. To express this, I should know what is the rate of the reaction also. Because what is this? Rate of forward reaction is equal to rate of backward reaction, then system is at equilibrium. So I should know what is the meaning of rate of the reaction. See, we say rate of forward equal to rate of backward reaction. Means I should know what is the meaning of rate of reaction. See here, I take a reactant A, give the product which is the reaction, general reaction. So just here, time, concentration of A in mole per liter, concentration of the product in mole per liter. So I started the experiment at the 0th second, 10 second you say. Concentration was 10 mole per liter for the reactant. What is the product concentration? 0, because reaction is not started. After 10th minute, after 10 seconds, I am seeing the concentration A, it was 8 you see. Product was 2. At 20th, it is 6, it is 4, so on. So, reactant concentration goes on decreasing, product concentration goes on increasing. So, this change in concentration of the reactant or the product with the time, that is called as rate of reaction. Change in molar concentration of the reactant or change in molar concentration of product with time, that is called as rate of reaction. Change in molar concentration of reactant or product with time. That is called as rate of reaction, also known as velocity of reaction. d R by dt. This is for the reactant. dP by dt for the product. This is change in the concentration divided by change in the time. That will represent the rate of the reaction or velocity of the reaction. But here, for the reactant, it is written as minus, whereas the product is written as positive. Because as the time passes, concentration decreases over there for the reactant, so we write with the minus. For the product, concentration increases, so we write with the positive. So rate is minus dr by dt is equal to plus dp by dt. Then equal also, because how much changes occur here, that much is appearing here. So whatever changing in the reactant will be appearing, so we are writing the equality sign also. Now in this example only, write on the rates there. Rate of reactant is equal to change in concentration of reactant divided by change in time. So how much it is? So final concentration minus initial concentration divided by final time minus initial time. Final concentration, that will give the job. This difference will give the change in concentration. Final concentration was 8, initial was 0, divided by, see, final concentration is 8, initial was 10, so divided by final time was 10, initial was 0, so it is minus 2 by 10, which is equal to 0.2 with the minus sign, that is the rate of the reaction. 0.2 mole per liter per second. Mole per liter per second. What is the rate with respect to product? Rate of product is equal to change in molar concentration of product divided by change in time. So it is initial concentration of the product, that is final concentration of product minus initial concentration of product, final time of the product, your final initial time of the product. So you see, final concentration was 2 here in this case, if you are taking in this interval. So 2 minus 0 divided by 10 minus 0 is equal to 2 by 10 is equal to plus 0.2 mole per liter per second. For different interval of time, you have to separately calculate the rate of the reaction. So in the beginning I took for this, okay, or I can take for this one also, or I can take it for this also. If you are taking for this, what you do is 6 minus 8 divided by 20 minus 10 you have to do for the reactant, or 4 minus 2 divided by 20 minus 10 for the product you have to do. So this is how to calculate the rate of the reaction. Next concept is the rate law. See, rate law was given by Guldberg and Weige. Note on this question can be that rate law was given by Goldberg and Veitch. What is this? CO A giving the product is the receipt. So in any reaction, the rate is always depend upon the change in the reactant concentration. See how much reactant is giving the product, that decides the rate of the reaction, yes or no? Because in the beginning product is zero. No product will be there, so you cannot start the reaction there. So anything or any reaction is started by the reactant only. So rate of the reaction is always directly proportional to the concentration, molar concentration of the reactant. That is the rate one. Or this molar concentration, we can call it as active mass also. So rate of a reaction is directly proportional to active mass of reactant or molar concentration of the reactant. This is called as rate law given by Goldberg and Veitch. For this, if we apply rate or velocity is proportional to concentration of the reactant. Now, I don't want this. What I have to do? R or V is equal to, I have introduced a proportionality constant K, where K is rate constant or velocity constant or reaction specific rate. Three terms are there for this. Three names are for this. Either rate constant or velocity constant or reaction specific rate.